G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to hang out with you again, real-time journaling this time. Not that I wasn't last time, I was doing a bit of a study though, and just kind of playing about. Today I have something specific I want to journal, and as I was getting everything prepared, do forgive me, I've kind of skipped a lot of the prep for this. I thought I should turn the camera on and kind of include that in the process, because that is much a part of it. In fact, a lot of the time the prep is about half of whatever happens in these more kind of curated journal spreads. So I thought I would do that with you today. I'm also kind of challenging myself to work in this teeny tiny format of the A6 Hobonichi because I've got these 4-month to a spread pages that I don't really use, and I thought it'd be a really nice thing to get some like kind of, I don't know, journaling in there, art journaling. Today it's more of a kind of travel journal-ish type thing. I'm documenting a whole day I had yesterday, actually, completely unexpected. A good friend Danielle, if you've been around here from the beginning, you will have remembered Danielle. Used to be Steve and my roommate, has known Steve and had been Steve's, wow, get that together. It's going to be a long video if I can't speak English today. Steve and Danielle were roommates for a long time. Then when I came to the States, we were all roommates together, and then yeah, we've been friends. We go to church together. It's just like a part of the family. And Danielle even did one of my voiceovers with me a long time ago. Danielle's more of a silent lurk mate. But she's around in the JLB stratosphere. She's in there. So Danielle had a spare ticket to go to the Touch of Disney, I should say, which is kind of the special event that they're putting on at Disney's California Adventure pre-opening. And so she asked if I wanted to go along. I could not say no. I ditched all my work responsibilities and just went, and I had such a great time. I have all of these photos that I wanted to get into my spread. There's so many of them though, and it's such a tiny spread that I've had to go and format it all, which is the stuff that I didn't record, so sorry if you were looking into that. But I will just make a note here. If you are curious about these kind of templates that I use for sizing specifically, in fact, is it the other journal? I think it's this one. I did a video on my blog about how to format to the monthly, and there's free template downloads. So if you have Photoshop, you can just open the template, drop your photos in there, and print it at 100%, and you'll have them specifically sized. I have this for the A6 and the A5, the monthly spread, so I think that's 35 of these photos. Then there's a sidebar and 2 footers. For this one, I did a template where they are the 4-month sections, but then also these kind of like little headers up here. So there's 2 of these spreads to a page. I hope that makes sense. But if you're interested in that, I'm going to upload this same template because I made it for myself today. I'm going to upload this template the same place that the other templates are at. So go and download that if you want to kind of follow along today, or to kind of lift this spread. I think it's called lifting in the scrapbooking community. But that template's there for you for free, and you can download that. And there's also a video tutorial on that same blog post that will show you how to drop your photos into it, because I know that can be a little tricky too. So go and check that out if that is something you're curious to learn. That is how I made this today. I just dropped a whole bunch of photos in there so I could have them all. They fit perfectly to these little sections. What I need to do now though is collect anything else I want to have in there. Like I definitely want this ticket. It's kind of my only ephemera really, the ticket and the catalog. I don't know if I'll put the whole thing in. This is obviously a little big, but there might be little bits and pieces I can harvest from here. And I want some stickers because I've got so many that I just need to use. And this one's pretty great for that. I also have a whole bunch that I keep in a little padded envelope over here, just so they don't run away from me. So I'm going to go through these and try and pick a few that I think might help the spread. But also, goodness, I haven't even started. There's so much going on. Also, this is what goes through my mind every time I like plan something. I have these. Spoiler alert, these are some washi tape designs. These are print proofs. The washi tape will not look exactly like this when it's finished. Part of the nature of washi tape is that it's actually kind of transparent, so this is just printed on matte photo paper and will not reflect what they are in the end, but this is the style that I was going for. So they're all in primary colors, which kind of suits nicely for this. If it doesn't, like maybe it's a little too hectic, I might use this washi tape, my black and white bits washi tape, because black and white kind of is a little bit more neutral for these super color heavy spreads. So that's everything I've got to work with. I kind of lay it all out on my table. You won't be able to see it because I've zoomed you in a little bit, but I put everything around, and then as I go through, I kind of just fossick from whatever's around me. And as we go, the pile kind of creeps in closer and closer and closer. So at least we start nicely. I'm gonna go through this real time with you. I don't know how far I'll get. My hope is that I'll get through the whole thing, but I won't keep you on here forever. It's a lie. You guys can decide how long you want to stay for. I won't keep myself on here forever because I do have to leave after about an hour and a bit. That should be enough. It should be enough to get something substantial done. Anyway, let's go through these stickers. I'm not being super fussy about the stickers, just anything I think that might add to the spread. Like I saw some trees that look like cherry blossom trees yesterday, so that works. It doesn't have to be specific. These are cute little paper clips. I might just put a paper clip on there just for fun. This is cute. It's got Thursday on it, that's the day I went. These are Job's journal stickers. I'm sorry if I don't mention absolutely everything. I won't be able to remember everything, but I love these little clips, so I will use those, hopefully. I won't actually. I will intend on using everything at the end. There may be like 3 little bits that I've used, but that's just the way that it goes. This is a cute little strip, but see, this is the thing. If I use this strip, then what was the point of me getting out all of these strips that are already cut up to use? So I have to be a bit more discerning than that. These are old stickers that I don't think really work. Those are always cute, but I'm gonna be a bit selective today. Oh, it was about food. I wonder if that goes. That might go. I've got a bit of a teal and orange thing going on. These are old Creator Box stickers. Don't know if I'll bother with flake seals today. Sorry, flake seal lovers. It's just too fiddly. That's for edited videos where you can edit out the 25 minutes of sticker peeling. We're already gonna have enough with the photos, I'm sure. I might have everything I need. This is not my full sticker collection, by the way. I love to use those. I just have these because they're either the most recent or I found a whole pile of them and I just decided to group them together. I have sticker piles everywhere and it's not a problem in the slightest. Here's some Disney ones that might look good. I was in DCA, so I do be a little bit more careful. I do be. I try to be a little bit more careful about bulky stickers in these types of journals. I don't mind them in my bigger ones, but this is my planner, and I don't want it to be so bulky that it's a frustrating nightmare to use. Oh, maybe some of these, because I did eat junk yesterday. That was the purpose. It's a touch of Disney, but they should have called it a taste of Disney, because all you do is walk around and eat all day, which I had a good time doing. Oh, Mickey Mouse. This is a cute little washi booklet, but I don't know if I'll fuss with that today. Oh, this is from, what is this called? The Festival of the Arts? I might use some of that maybe. More of these. These are cute little colorful things. I'm gonna have to choose little bits because in reality, the places that I can put them is either over the photos or in this little area around the edge, the border, because these photos are sized specifically to fit this and this. So I'm not gonna have a ton of space. So that is obviously more than enough, I think. I say that, but I still want to use more. I'm gonna put that over there too. I've even got my Collage Club folder out as well. See, this is my little padded envelope. It's an Art Snacks envelope. They come in really useful for storing things. Oh goodness, I'm lying if I think I'm going to spend the time to get these back in here. I'm going to chuck them off to the side. How have you been? Did you have a good week? Thank you for your lovely comments last week on that video. Very shocked, very surprised. It's not why I'm doing this week. I actually just thought it would be fun to do this real time. Well, I guess half and half, maybe. It's not the specific reason. But I did want to do this, and I thought might be interesting. I don't know if I've ever really done anything real time as far as like a planned spread like this. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is my Tonic Studios, my little Tim Holtz Tonic Studios paper trimmer. It is such a lifesaver, you have no idea. I mean, you do have an idea if you have one, but I absolutely love it. I've had this one for a long time, and the blade is still super sharp and works really well. So, oh, you might be wondering what these little strips are, these little images, these ones? So when I was walking through the park, Danielle and I were doing lots of photo shoots because A Touch of Disney, it was really fun. I have to say though, controversial topic, I probably wouldn't have wanted to pay the $75 to go. I do love Disney and I love going to the parks, and yes, I had an annual pass, but my value, I might have mentioned this before, my value in going to the parks is a lot in people watching, a little bit of rides, mostly entertainment. I am huge on watching the shows and the parades, and I'll try and watch as many of them as I can when I go to the park. So unfortunately there was not much in the way of entertainment. It was mostly food and beverage and photo ops. So I kind of leaned into that photo opportunity aspect and played top model around the park, which is honestly not unusual. But when we were going around the park, we were doing lots of photo ops, and then also I would take detail shots, or not detail shots, kind of zoomed in shots, or close-up shots of random textures or patterns and colors and motifs, things that are around the park. So these are actually, like that's the boardwalk at Pixar Pier, the palm tree on Pixar Pier. I think these are all, in fact maybe all my textures are there. No, there's a couple that aren't. This is one of the frozen treat umbrellas. This is in the candy, is it the candy store? The Bing Bong one. This is Bing Bong's rainbow. Goodness, say Bing Bong and try not to feel stupid. So I took those pictures, and it's something I talked about in my Memory to Memento course, that honestly one of the most exciting parts for me about creating these documentation style spreads and like travel journals and stuff is getting as much of the experience in there as possible. And sometimes so much of your experience is atmospheric and it's really hard to document that down, but there are really clever creative ways to be able to do that. And so I think grabbing lots of these, I mean, you essentially can make your own ephemera, you can make your own pattern papers, you can make your own you know, little tabs or whatever you want to make with them. This is driving me nuts that I didn't cut properly. I love how I just told you this was such a good trimmer and now I've messed it up. It's fine. It is a good trimmer. You can get a lot out of it just by taking all those little textural shots of where you're at. Especially in different places. Lots of different places have different textures that maybe you're not familiar with. Sometimes I feel like I can tell, even by the sky, like, you know when you think about sunlight? Steve and I were talking about this before, how in certain countries the sun just looks different, or the light in the sky looks different. A sunset in Hawaii looks really different to a sunset in Australia. Oh, yes, there can be similarities, and obviously I'm reaching for the stars with that as a factual statement, but I think sometimes you can really tell where something is. And that's a really interesting part of the experience to capture. So, I did. They're not in any particular order, and they don't mean anything significant. You can, if there was a specific significance to, you know, where you were going. I think in Japan I did it with cherry blossoms and some of the road. I didn't make a huge, like, texture library or anything, or any kind of pattern stuff, but keep your eyes peeled for future things, is what I'll say to that. Yeah, it's just a really fun way to be able to get it. Like this, at first glance you might not be able to tell what that is, but it is the water fountain. All the ripples in the little water feature that was outside Jessie's critter carousel just made the most beautiful kind of prism effect that I had to go and take a photo. And obviously I've punched up the colors in Photoshop, because if you can, why wouldn't you? But you don't have to. You can be a purist if you want, but I just think that's so magical. Reminds me of Pollyanna, all the little prism effects. Alright, so there's 12 minutes of cutting. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Put that away. Sorry for all the clunking too. I always end up with bits of trash everywhere, and I do try to clean as I go. It's the same philosophy I have with cooking if I ever bother to cook, because it really frustrates me to have bits everywhere, especially if they're stickers. These are printed on glossy label paper, like glossy sticker paper, so that I don't have to mess with glue. Even these are printed on matte sticker paper, so I really don't even know if I need a lot of glue today. But if the little bits and pieces are flying around, some of them, the backing comes off and they stick to everything and it can just ruin it all. So I try to keep that nice. Okay, let me clip this spread together. I'm going to plan out the 2 pages as far as which photos I want where, but I'm not going to stick anything in just yet. Some of the photos are like very blue, so like all these are really, really blue, and then some of them are really orange and colorful. So I don't want to have too many of the same next to each other. Unless I do, like that would be a whole kind of bluish look, but I want to do 1 and 1. I don't care that they're not chronological either, to be honest. I'm going to start there, and then I might switch that out for this. And I'm going to plan the other spread down here just to make sure it all works. Maybe I'll go this way. I think that's good. Great. Now I have the little bits as well. Just want to make sure that they look nice wherever they go. I think that's great. Alright, I'm going to put this all over to the side and hopefully not knock it as I go, so that I remember how it goes. But this is not like, it's not the end of the world if I make a mistake. There is really no mistakes, but I do like a little bit of a slight plan, a soft script, if you will. I learned that a long time ago, but I'm now, whenever I say anything on YouTube, I always have to second and triple guess it, because you just get eviscerated in the comment section if you say something, just a thought, and people know what the actual fact is. So I try to refrain from stating any kind of fact that I've ever heard, but I'm pretty sure they call it soft scripting in reality TV shows when it's supposed to be a real kind of interaction, like a very realistic, like non-scripted moment, but they're encouraged to either provoke in a certain way, or they're encouraged to speak specifically about something before it starts. So you're kind of setting it up, but there's no actual script. Does that make sense? I think it's called that. I think it's called soft scripting. It always goes on in my mind whenever I watch reality TV shows. I'm always questioning how much of it is soft scripted. Okay, so these are sized to fit perfectly. My printer prints a touch bigger than it actually says it's going to. So sometimes I size it down just a little bit, like a fraction. Instead of printing 100%, I'll print 99.5. But I left this a little bit bigger, like the printer size, because the printer's 100%, I should say. Because sometimes when I'm trimming, I'll trim off too much and then it suddenly won't fit. So this is a good example of that, where it's not even, it's like 0.5 millimeter too wide and maybe 1 millimeter too long, which, accounting for like trimming, that's not a bad thing at all. So just in case you're wondering how much I'm lying about this actually fitting properly, that's how that works. So I've got some stickers. I think the stickers have to go on over the top, maybe. If anything, there's not really going to be much room. I don't know what I was thinking. This I'm going to have to do as a little tip-in, possibly, so that I can actually fit it into the spread. Maybe it goes up here. I think it can go around here somewhere, because, and I can use maybe some of this as washi. I wish I had the real washi. I had lots of fun putting this together. I'll talk about it when it comes out, hopefully. Fingers crossed I remember. But I had really lots of fun doing this. This, do Do I want some washi in the border? It's gonna be so hectic. I think I do. You know what, let's just do it. I won't do the whole thing. I'm gonna peel this off and I'm just gonna tear it. It's technically just paper with adhesive on the back. So I'm gonna lay this down here in the gutter. I'll just tear it at the bottom. I can trim that later. Now that's gonna go over that edge a little bit, so it'll just be the tiniest little peak of that patterning. I think that's okay. And then I'll do it down here, maybe? There we go. I think that is a good idea, actually. This one, maybe it was only, if that one's just really busy, I could do it with this one to be a little bit more subtle. I'm gonna get the skizzers and trim that up. I guess I could talk about these now. I have made 5 of these and they're in primary colors, so they're called different things. This is called, oh my goodness, do not ask me to tell you what this is called. I've already forgotten. I sent off the order like a few days ago and I've already forgotten. I know one of them's called primary crayons. What's this? Primary patterns? Primary stripes? Primary painted primaries? Girl, I don't know. I can't be expected to remember everything I do. Sorry about that. That is so slack of me. And you know what? You know what's so funny is now that that's covered, you actually don't need this to be the perfect size because you can't even see the edge. It's okay. We'll just worry about this page and then we'll move on to the next one afterwards. But, okay, I'm just going to stick this down because I think there's nothing else I want to put under it. I know you've said this helps, this kind of like very realistic look into the process. Is there anything you're very specifically curious about though? Because I think people just sometimes want to see, oh, I've stuck that in the wrong part. No, I haven't put it down yet. Please come up. These things are so sticky when you make a mistake and then they fall off the minute you want them to stick down forever. Ugh, lucky. Is there anything very, very specific you want to see? Hopefully I can remember that and just at least mention it the next time I do something live. Although you're pretty good at asking that stuff when we do Instagram lives. So, just a friendly reminder, in case it pops up in your brain and you're like me, you would forget it if you didn't write it down. Let me know. This, I think, you know what, I might put some of this up here. Gorgeous. Looks really nice. I've been watching Kath and Kim, can you tell? Oh goodness. I'm not subtle. Okay, there we go. So it was a really lovely day, but yeah, I don't know if I would have been overjoyed to have paid $75 for it. I think that's for your hardcore fans. And it's different too, because it's DCA, it's not Disneyland. I think Disneyland has a bit more of an inherent nostalgia for people. I'm not sure if people feel the same way about DCA. I did see some of that Avengers campus though. I peeked over that little wall they had set up. Very interesting looking over there. Okay, I'm gonna put this Thursday on. Thursday. That's great. Sorry, I hope that doesn't sound like I'm bragging about my own choices there. I've just gotten into a habit of just affirming myself throughout the entire process. I don't know where that came from. Let's put that there. I know it's just a little subtle hint of a border, but I'm actually really enjoying it. I might try something different on the next page though. There we go, just rip that off. Sometimes I prefer torn edges over cut edges, just because I think it adds its own little texture. But I used to think anything that wasn't really, really neat just looked terribly messy. I don't know where that switch changed. Because nowadays I really embrace anything that looks a little wonky. Except lining up the photos, I do like them to be straight. I'm all contradiction. Just listen to myself. Okay, let's put this here. And we have to figure out what other... Okay, so I'll tell you why I just made that decision. I went to put it down like this, and I thought, you know what? No, let me put it like this. That's because in my mind, I thought if I were to put a sticker or anything somewhere, it would probably be around this area. And since there's a lot more of the green over here, like the busy pattern work happens here, I'd rather be able to see that after I put the sticker down than all of this green. So I flipped it on the off chance I want to put a sticker around here. I wouldn't cover up all the busy pattern work that I want to see. I know that is so specific, but that just, it flashes in my mind to do that just in case. And I think that's just come from years of like, you know, sticking it down and then wishing I had done what I wanted to do. I'm like overly cautious about every step, but at least my brain works a little quickly, because I couldn't imagine being that pedantic and taking a ton of time to do it all. I love these little clips, but as I'm looking at it, I think anything is going to get lost except for this black one. So I'm going to put the black one here. I might actually put it down here somewhere, maybe? I'm going to cut the edge off here. Oh, I don't know. I think I want to put it here. There's a little gap right between these photos that's irritating me slightly. How shall I fix that? You know what, sometimes on some of these printouts, this is my, what's it called, Collage Club folder. I print all of mine on sticker paper and I use my Silhouette to cut it. Sometimes I have like strips, and since it's all sticker paper, I can just use that. I can use one of those strips, or like here. I wonder if this, maybe this yellow? It's already cut. So it's technically the scraps, but it's already a little strip, so why not use that? And I don't usually like to measure it out or anything if it's a sticker, because then I can just put it down and then I can use my scissors to cut off the edges. Any wonky joints is where I can put a little sticker. So you can see how wow. Losing the English again. You can see how it suddenly starts to look really full. And I think a lot of the time people give people credit for having planned out a lot of that stuff. But for me, just for me, it's a lot of problem solving. Like, oh, I didn't like that gap, so let me stick this over the top. And oh, the edges are a bit wonky, let me stick a sticker over the top of that. Just assume that all my layering is covering up a multitude of sins underneath. And I think you'll have my approach down pat. In any case, this sticker is probably going to be way too big unless I put it on the back of this. So I'm going to try and hopefully work that out somehow, because I don't need all that writing. Kind of fits nicely there, doesn't it? Let's go. I'll wait for your response. Alright. Do you know what? I need to get some of this in here. Is there anything that might look good around the edge? I mean, I think we should definitely try to harvest this, because it's the event name. I like the little Pixar here a bit, because that's where a lot of these photos are from. Does it back onto this? No. Okay, great. I'm going to take this little guy. So I might want him. And then I'm going to take pics up here. That's good. I'm not sure if I want anything else. I would, oh look, that's a really tiny little logo there. That might fit better if I need the whole thing. I'm more tempted these days sometimes to capture, like right here, the current state of affairs in the world. I'm more tempted to kind of really highlight that, even though I know a lot of people don't want to see it and don't want to, you know, in their own journaling, like even remember it ever happened. For me, as far as the documenting goes, it's such a specific and like interesting moment and snapshot in history that I don't, and I like literally fingers crossed, I don't think we'll ever have to, hopefully ever, experience again. So I'm kind of seizing my opportunity to document it and note it down and like, you know, just really highlight it as like this current moment in time. I think I really try to do that with everything, no matter what the circumstances are, but specifically like in this, you know, the little foot markings about like how to wait behind the lions and where to go and wearing the masks, and even Danielle had like bought a mask. She had a different mask when we arrived when we were taking all our photos. So I wanted to kind of make sure that that was in there. I know it's really not everyone's favorite thing, and to each their own, I say, but for me as someone who wants to document it, I do like to kind of highlight that a little bit. And I've done it within my 5-year journal as well. I just don't think I've ever made a point of talking about it. I know actually when it first started, I made a very specific point of not mentioning it at all, because I wanted to provide, much like Disneyland, a bit of escapism, because I felt like there was absolutely enough different sources to get your news and information from. I didn't need to be one of those sources. I also didn't need to be a source that kind of, you know, provided, like, I really try to stay away from ever trying to provide therapy for anyone, or like even have people think that it's my intention to be therapeutic with any kind of content that I create. Even if you watch it to fall asleep and, you know, you feel that way about it, I never try to make that something that is my intention to do, because I just believe that's for licensed people to do. So I always thought, like, will it be better for me? I think I'm best served providing a bit of that escapism, like, you know, where are the laughs, where are the jokes? Not about it, but just, you know, a bit of relief from the heavy overload of information that I think a lot of us experienced kind of daily throughout that anyway, depending on where you lived. I know people in different countries have had different experiences. I know my own family in Australia had a very different experience to what I've had here in the States. But I never really mentioned like whether it was important to me to document, and I absolutely did, even though I didn't, you know, publicize it or make any of my videos about that. This video is not about that. I don't think I've ever wanted to make a video about it specifically, but I always made sure that I checked in with, you know, how I'm feeling about it, what I think is interesting about it, what it's really highlighted for me, because it's been probably one of the most fascinating periods of my life to document. It's been, you know, really hard for me to avoid the emotions of it all, because I'm typically someone that would avoid journaling about any heavy emotions. You know, we've had that talk before, I definitely know we have. But the idea of writing down a lie in a journal and like having it stare back at you, I find, you know, really confronting. And so approaching my journals with, you know, the truth and honest feeling that I had about everything and what was going on, that was, you know, it was really interesting. So I really leaned in, but I know for a lot of people that wasn't their journey, and I don't begrudge either. I don't think you have to document anything you don't want to document. I would just strongly encourage you to not document anything that was false, but that is also people's journey. Like I can't judge. I know I've definitely tried to rewrite my own narrative a few times, and we do what we need to do to, you know, to move forward, right? So yeah, that's my thought on that. That's that on that. I just didn't feel the need. But here we are. Let's go to the next page. These ones, okay. Now, I've got this stuff, so maybe I can put this down here. That would definitely tell me what the event was. I might try and add a little bit more of this ephemera. I want to get the ticket in there, but I don't know how I'm going to do that just yet. And it's kind of annoying me that the ticket is like dark, because I've really saturated the rest of my page. That's such a weird journal problem. I might try and put it, maybe if I put the ticket down this way, still looks like a ticket. There's just no way I'm going to get around to putting that aerial somewhere. What if I put it on the second page, I wonder? Maybe I'll save this for the second page. If all else fails, we'll have to come up with something super unique. In fact, I know what it could be. I've done this in Memory Memento before as well. I made a pocket. I definitely think I could make a pocket here and have the ticket slip in to the pocket. That looks good. Ooh, I love that. Let's do that. This is a bit tricky as well, and I think I even mentioned it in Memory Memento and did it properly. But I'm going to, because this is sticker paper, I'm not going to glue it down. I'm actually going to mark out where the ticket falls on the back. There we go. And I have to just score the backing paper around that so that I leave the backing paper intact. Intact? Tack? I have no idea. Intact. I'm grabbing my little cutting board, sorry. I have to score that so I leave that backing paper intact. And I can slip it in and out. So just keep my pressure light. It might be a little thin, on the adhesive on this edge, but it's okay because I think I can go over that with washi or something. Also, it doesn't have to be neat because it's... What you're essentially doing is you're cutting out the glue part. I hope I haven't sliced through that whole thing. Oh goodness, I did. Oh no! I sliced through the whole thing. I was too heavy-handed. It's typically my problem. If I can just get the edge up, hopefully I can peel it off. I might need to do a bit of problem solving. Is this riveting? Do you love this? Do you love this peel struggle? I just cut my nails the other day too, so this is very awkward. Although it seems more awkward with nails. There we go. So see how I'm peeling that off 12 years later? That is now the glue, and that is going to make sure that when I slip this in, it doesn't get stuck. But I did slice into it, so yay for us. Oh my gosh. Oh no, that's right. Thought I did it back to front. Alright, oh, I should have just done my, you know what, I'm going to do it. Stick it down, don't worry, we can work backwards. Put this here. See, this edge, there's only the tiniest little bit of adhesive, which I want to make sure it's a little bit more reinforced. You can even see the pocket opening there. Oh, Alleluia, Kim. I want to make sure that this doesn't pop out, because when you keep putting this in and out, you're going to end up pulling up on some of this adhesive. So you want to kind of reinforce a little bit, especially here. Like, look, that's fully sliced off. I did that. Me. I did that. That was my fault. So let's do some washi. Or some quote-unquote washi. I think I'm going to try and slice off a small part of this. I'll get my trimmer. This is why I love the trimmer, because it does really thin slices of washi. if you need to. Well, thin strips of paper, it's not really washy. So I'm going to line it up with that edge. As long as you press this down, it'll slice it off nice and straight. So press that down. See that really tiny little strip? And now hopefully that will be enough to... Oh, is it too thin? It's too thin! How did I manage that? Wow, what a struggle. I'll cut another piece. I guess it's about a 1/2 centimeter wide, so I could be a bit more generous. There we go. If you don't hold that down, sometimes it goes wonky after you get to the halfway point, which is fixable. Okay. If I've got something that's too long, I'm gonna kind of test where all the pattern falls and see if I like a different look better. Like, I think I like that better. So I'm just gonna snip snip. Put this over the top of that edge, just so it's got extra strength adhesive to that paper. Especially because this is close to the gutter of the book. That as this book becomes chunkier and chunkier, you can already start to see there's a hump there. It's going to really put a lot of pressure on anything that's close to this spine. So something like this, the thicker this book gets, the more this is going to kind of pull open. So you just want to reinforce stuff like that. It's not a problem. I think a lot of people avoid doing it because they think, oh, it's just not going to work. I always say that even if it does peel up a year, 2 years from now, just get a piece of washi tape and put it back down. Like, just get the glue and glue it again. You could just keep gluing it again. It's not going to be a problem. Okay. So who's this photo for? This one. We need this photo. And underneath... I know I said I'd try something different, but I was lying. I don't want to do that. I'm going to put more of this washi under here. Just on the edge. Maybe I could use that really thin piece for this strip at the bottom because it's very thin. Sorry, I'll put that in screen so at least you can see the struggle. It is a struggle, but honestly, it's so much neater than glue. I have such a hard time with glue. It's everywhere. And I wash my hands before I start, but I pick up such an obscene amount of dirt, apparently, while I'm just sitting at the table doing nothing, that there's just like oily, dirty glue marks everywhere. I'll see, that works. Clock that reference. It's not even the right reference, but if you know, you know. It's from Strictly Ballroom. Oh no, see, that's you. Island Fantasy. Okay. Put that on the bottom. Could you imagine gluing this little strip? I don't think. Alright, let's put this photo on top. The only thing I will say about the sticker is that there's always an edge where you peel it up. There's always an edge that's like a little bent out of shape. Probably just me. There might be a better way to do it. Leave all of your suggestions worded in the comments below. Politely to me, please. Like that time I didn't know that if you put a pen through both loops, and about 7,000 comments just saying, it goes through both loops. Well, it's not my fault that I don't know. It's not my fault that I'm an idiot. It is. I could have looked at any Instagram photo and found that out. Still. That's my reminder to always share information that seems obvious, because it's obvious to some. It's certainly not obvious to me. Okay, got that one there. I love this little yellow one. It's the Abominable Snowman treats. The umbrella's outside of there. I could note that down, but I don't think I will. I'm just going to enjoy it as decoration. So let's put this up here. I'm going to have to use, not glue, this is how I get around glue, my Tombow adhesive tape runners. I'm going to slightly trim this just a little bit more. There we go. I try my best to get right up to the edge. Especially if it's going to be at the edge of the page. But I get, see, even that gets little residue of little glue balls everywhere. Oh no. Oh no. It stuck down before I wanted it to. Why does that always happen? I'm gonna cut a little bit off in the gutter because it's not gonna stick. There we go. I don't think I have very good depth perception. Because I always seem to think like I'm a few inches, or not inches, a few millimeters from the page, and then it sticks. I don't know if there's some kind of magnetic pull that might be happening. Even though that sounds stupid. Okay, well I can't really put this on here now, can I? Because what am I going to put on the back? Or do I just keep the backing and just slice into it like before? I kind of want to. Should I just do it? Let's just be reckless. Let's just do it. Okay. So from there, I'm going to do exactly what I just did. Hopefully I don't cut through it this time. So I just have to mark the part that I need to reveal the glue on. This little tool is called a slice tool. It's linked in my Amazon shopfront in the description below. And it is a fantastic little ceramic blade for like an X-Acto knife, this ceramic blade one, which is really good. There we go, a touch of Disney. Fantastic. I almost feel like that could fit here. I wonder. Should I just put that on there? Let's just put this on here. I cut it out and I did want to keep it. Even if something doesn't fit perfectly, I would rather just get it on there and then deal with that afterwards. Because you can always color in the edges or like put some little paint there or something. I'm going to snip off the edge. Anything that overlaps. You could fold that if you weren't interested in cutting. There we go. So now that's on there, I can slot this in. I could even slot it in this way if I wanted to. But up here, I might just put some of these cherry blossoms. Let's put my little stickers in here now. Where are all those little people? These ones. These are nice and colourful. I generally just like it if it's got colour. Like it doesn't have to be, it doesn't really have to mean much. Some people really plan that. I think for my travel journal, I really planned out like where certain things were going to go. That mattered more to me, but for a general day out, not so much. Can even fill in that space with some paint marker. Because it's the backing of a sticker, you would need to use something a bit more like a paint marker, I think. I don't think a regular pen or pencil would really stick to it. So I just have these little Sharpie paint markers I keep handy. Even this is overkill. But I thought I'd show you just in case you were someone who wanted to really make sure it didn't look like the back of a sticker. I understand. I'll put the blue on there. It'll match all my primary colors I have all around the page. There we go. I might even snip off the edge of this ticket because there's a little white edge there that I don't really need. There we go. And that can go in there. I'm going to keep it in there for now because I want to slightly reinforce these edges, like especially this one down here. So I'm going to have to make sure I do that well. Could do it with this, I think. I think I will. Just do it with this. That's good. Just to make sure it won't come apart. Could put a sticker there. I'm just really enjoying using all this washi print proof. Makes me feel like I'm not wasting all my printer paper. There we go. I still have these, but I might save these for the next spread because this is only one half of my spread. I still have another half to do. Oh no, I don't have enough time to do another half, do I? What am I at? 51 minutes. Let me think. Put my A into G. What could I do? I could try and speed through it. Alright, let's speed through it. We know what we're doing now. We've been so slow. I don't think we have. I think we actually did a really good job. But that's neither here nor there. I want this. So cute. Food? Yay? No? Alright, there we go. I'm gonna put this here too. Just don't like to have anything with sharp edges. Should I put it this way? Or should I put it this way? I'm gonna put it this way, I think. That makes a little more sense. Should I put this here? I know this says a touch of Disney, but no, that's nah. I don't know about that. Another thing I was doing recently is if I ever needed a little white space to draw, or draw or write something, like I could put a heading here or a little bit of journaling. I would go to any of my little printouts here and I'd cut off some of the border because this is still sticker paper. There's just nothing printed on it. And then I could cut out a little section so I can do my journaling there. I might do that. In fact, I'll use my trimmer. Trim for a few things so I can just... I just want to write the date or stamp the date out or something. So I just need a little section. There we go. Could be a little smaller than that. I like these because there's just lots of lines to line everything up with. So you can always keep it nice and straight. Even smaller than that, wow. I think that's good. I'm gonna have to journal pretty small. Let's go to here. I have a date stamp I got a long time ago from when Target did those Smash books. Does anyone remember those? It's the only date stamp I've ever really used. I still have it. It doesn't finish until, I want to say 2022. Let me look. That's not it. Where is it? Oh no, I don't want to have to go searching for it. So annoying. I literally put it back in the same spot every time, so this is news to me that it's missing. Oh my have no time for that. That's too much drama. Things flying everywhere. Let me see if I can stamp these numbers over the top. It was, what day was it? The 15th yesterday? This is getting huge numbers now. Sorry to this journal. Where's my pen? I just need a black pen. This one's fine. 15th of April. (2021). A touch of Disney Day with Divalicious Danny. I know it seems obvious that I would remember that, but you honestly never know. I'm hoping that I have a good memory well into my older years, my senior years, but it may not be the case, and I do like to write the very obvious, just in case I need that help in the future. It's one of the benefits of journaling. Although my mum did say once, it was really funny, she was like, well, if you're journaling and then you're using that to remind yourself of what your life was like, won't you be really confused when you come to all the mermaid and fairy pages? What if you believed that was real? I was like, what are you? Who's to say I don't right now? No, but I thought that was funny. Okay. Alright. Let's see if I can quickly go through this page here. We already have the stuff. Let's look at the difference. I know this is not a test or a challenge, but let's look at the difference in how we approach it if we don't do any of the background stuff first. If we just stick the photos down and then kind of go nuts on top of them. It does kind of change the way I approach things, because I think because the layering tends to cover more of the photo. Or it takes longer to size things properly. But that's where I start changing the technique. So a lot of what we did before was with tape and stickers, like kind of sticker washies. This, I would probably use markers or paints or pencils to decorate the border, because I'd be able to get in there easier and I wouldn't have to worry about sizing anything to fit those really small spaces. I could just fill that in with my marker or my pencil. So that's what I'll probably do. I could have started with the quick one and then did the long one, but I didn't realize this would take me a long time. Because I already did a lot of the prep. That's the thing, you just never know. And I haven't even written anything about it yet. This was a wall over by the bathrooms. This, we've already discussed this. The boardwalk it picks up here. I bet you can't wait for me to stop peeling all this stuff. Well, I'm assuming you would have left if you hated it. Can you honestly believe, though, this is how much I cut out of a regular video? Because I can't. Until I'm doing it real time, I don't realize like just how long you can spend doing all this. There we go, that's from Bong Bong's store. Oh, did I just say Bong Bong? Bing Bong. Uh-oh. That's the official sign I have to stop. Oh my goodness. Bong Bong. My fave. Oh, send help. Okay. Well, we do have some of this junk. Oh, that goes perfectly there. Let's put that on. Also covers up. Oh no, I accidentally covered up a little bit of mini. Bring that up. This will definitely ruin some of the picture, so I have to be careful about how I place it over the top again. I do this a lot, actually. Let's especially if I'm impatient. There we go. It's okay, you can still hide it. But I know that would stress people out a little bit. I don't tend to see a problem until there's like a problem. Do you know what I mean? Where does this want to go? Down here? I'll put it here. A touch of Disney. Just a touch. California. Got these little bits and pieces I think I can just put on just as filler. Any of the small bits. I don't want to have just tiny bits that I throw in the bin. If I can save them and put them on here. I always get tempted to put them in the gutter, even though I probably shouldn't, because that's where it bulks up a lot. And I've got these stickers. Ooh, I did want to use some of these little paper clips, didn't I? Those stickers are a little too bulky, but the paper clips I think I could use. One here on this little thing. Put it this way. Oh, that's a little sharp. Put that there. Oh, I think there's a child outside upset. Where do I want to put this one? Should I just put this one over the edge? On the edge of glory? I'm on the edge. Oh, how do I see the ears? No, I don't want that poking out. Okay, I'll live with that one that I have. Move that over there. What other stickers have I got? I think I'm pretty good with all of these. I might do a few more cherry blossoms. They're pretty. These are actually tabs, but I just ripped them in half and used them as little cherry blossoms. None of these foods I actually ate. This kind of looks like a churro, but I might just use these because they're long, like long rectangles, so I think they'll fit in the spread better. And I have to put these on first because they're washi stickers, so they're transparent. And if I do all my coloring around them, if I did my coloring underneath them, you wouldn't see them as well. Okay, I'm gonna grab my trio of paint markers, do a bit of coloring in here. Just scribbles, I don't need to be too pedantic about it. Oh, in fact, I should use my... I wonder if I've got those Moonlight pens. Yeah, I've got those Moonlight Jelly Roll pens. Maybe I can do some of my journaling over the top of the photos. Otherwise, I have a white gel pen or a white paint pen that should work too. I just want to bring some finish to the page, so I'm going to color these edges. I've had a good time with you today, even though you haven't been talking back to me. No, it's been relaxing. And I did want to do this. This was not for... In fact, I was going to do this off camera. And then I thought, well, since I was shocked by last week's comments on that video, I honestly thought it would have been the most boring thing ever. I thought, well, I guess I could do this and maybe show a bit of this process. Because this was a little more planned out. I don't know how much of planning you do before you start your journaling. I tend to see, like, from the people that I watch, there is, I'm more in line with people, not more in line with, I see a lot more content from people who don't do a lot of planning before they start, which I think has encouraged me to be a lot more free and easy with my process. But it does require you to be a bit more of a problem solver, I've noticed, because we obviously dive into things without, you know, much regard for what happens next. Like, if there's no process, we're not preempting any problems unless we've faced them before. So you tend to learn a lot through just going for it and then realizing afterwards, when I do that, I can't lay color down afterwards because that washi tape is transparent. So, you know, I'll try and remember that for next time. Some of those lessons you learn really quickly, and then other ones it just takes a lot of time for it to sink in. Like for me, and you'll see the difference between these two spreads. For me, if I want something to look a bit neater and I want it to look full, I generally have to do some of the background work first. Because it's just inevitable, I'm not going to be super patient with how I color around the border. And even if I go right up to the edge of this, it's still going to get a little bit of color on that photo, like even on the edge. So if I really wanted this to, even to have this paint marker edge, this paint marker border, because it's cute, I like it, it's fun. But if I wanted it to have it but be a bit more neat, I'd have to do the paint marker first and then stick my photos over the top, just for it to be a bit neater. But this also speaks to some people who like to blend their pages together a bit more organically. This is actually a great thing to do afterwards because you can kind of draw over the edges of the photos and blend them together, make them all look like they're part of one cohesive spread rather than, you know, 4 individual photos pasted next to each other. In fact, I'll show you. So I've got this big blue over here. I'm going to bring a polka dot pattern over the edge of that and onto the photo. And this is going to make it look like that photo is an underneath layer. And if I want to do maybe I want to do some journaling over the top, I can bring the words over multiple layers as well. So maybe I'll do it over here. I'm going to write pose, but I'm going to do it in yellow. And because there's a yellow border down here, it looks like it's creeping up over the top. Yellow is a bit of a hard color to make stand out. What is that noise outside? A truck? So this helps. Typically the easiest way to do it is just to bring a pattern from one side over the layers that you want to blend. So polka dots I think is really fun, especially for Disney. I'm going to take this red and put polka dots here. I'm going to blend polka dots even over these 2 photos. There you go. So that starts to merge everything together, and it's not really like, I don't know if merging is the right word. It makes the separation of the layers a little bit more indistinguishable. So your eyes aren't drawn to the perfect straight lines of each of the edges of the photos because you're concealing them. It's a bit of an old hack with your collage and blending. In any case, I think that's pretty good. That blue is going to take a bit of time to dry, so I might try and put something on here while I can. I'm going to put yum up here because it was delicious. Have any of you been to the Touch of Disney? I'm not quite sure if it was only a California residents thing. I think the park tickets are, now that they're opening the park, I think that's only a California residents thing. But let me know what your experience was like if you went. I had a good time. And I know I said I wouldn't have paid for the ticket. Again, please let me be very clear when I say just because that value is not there for me doesn't mean there is no value there. It's just that I specifically enjoy entertainment at Disney, and unfortunately that's just something they can't operate right now. Sometimes I'll even draw around certain elements. So this one's a lot more fun, I think. And I might use, I'm going to do some of that journaling I was talking about with the pens, the Moonlight ones. I don't know if it's going to work. Let me just see if it works. Oh yeah, it does. I'm not going to do full-on text. I'm just going to write little, like kind of little, oh my goodness, what's the word? Passages, maybe? They're just to prompt me to remember what those specific things were. And these Moonlight Jelly Roll pens are an easier way to add fine detail if I want to bring out some of that patterning again to blend my photos, because the paint markers are a little, I mean, I think those are medium nib, maybe even fine, but the pens are like a super fine detail. So that's curious. Whenever Steve and I say Ariel, we say it like they used to say it in the Japanese at Mermaid Lagoon Theatre in Tokyo Disney Sea. And I think it was Flounder, and he was so cute. He would say, "Eddie, Eddie." So every time we say Ariel, we say it like Flounder in that show. So that's what I've written there. Eddie, Eddie. I'm going to put masks somewhere because that's just... It's just a sign of the times, isn't it? Masks haven't been a big thing for me. I used to wear them in Japan. It's actually a courtesy in Japan if you're sick to wear a mask so you don't get others sick. So that's been something that, even though I don't wear them in any Western countries, in Japan I was familiar with. So, oh, my dot markers. I have these. These are curious. Put some little dots somewhere. More dots. What is that noise? It's so annoying. It's so off base. I love how we did this one quicker, but it's probably I enjoy this one a little bit more than the other page, right? I don't know. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the neat and kind of put together, or is this something you like as well? Hectic and kind of blended layers, lots of color. One of the tips to this working out, I guess I could mention, I do a lot of this kind of in Memory to Memento, which is no surprise to me because that is exactly what that course was for, was showing how I approached all of this for my Japanese travel journal, which I just put some of those detail shots on TikTok if you haven't seen. I'll upload my TikTok compilation today as well. so long-winded. All to say, just choose a trio of colors. So much easier for your eye to digest, even if all the other colors in your photos are there. When you're actually, you know, doing this block and this pattern and this kind of merging of everything, just choose a trio. It doesn't have to even really match your photos, but it's just, if you choose too many, your eyes get really overwhelmed with it, because this is overwhelming as it is, and it's only 3 colors, so you can imagine what it starts to look like when it's more. Black and white I wouldn't really count as a color, but if you're choosing, you know, red, blue, yellow, green, orange, purple, you know, stick to a trio, and it should work out a little easier than adding too many colors. It's also just nice to kind of limit yourself sometimes. Sometimes we don't realize how spoiled we are for choice and how much that can impact our process and our progress. Anyway, we are at 1 hour and 15 minutes, so I'm going to do a little flip and hopefully not get any of that blue paint on this. Here is the page we started with. Is this, put it in the comments below if you're if you're more of a page 1 kind of journaler, leave a little heart emoji. If you're more of a page 2 kind of documenter journaler, leave a little star emoji, or just write those words, or just don't. Literally do what you need to do today. Today is about you. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time journaling. I'll put some little, actually no I won't. This is just going straight up. I was gonna say I'll put some close-ups in, but I won't because I think you can see it all here. And I'm just going to upload this video. So, thank you for joining me. Hope to see you again another time soon. Hope you enjoyed some of the sneak peeks at washi tapes we've got coming out. Those are not all the washi tapes that are coming out, by the way. Just 5 of them. Actually, I don't even think all 5 were there. But yeah, I'm really excited to continue to share this journey with you. And finally, that thing is gone. It was honestly impacting on my ability to think. Excited to keep sharing with you the things that I'm enjoying, the things that I'm loving, impromptu day trips, how I journal, where I journal, why I journal, all that good stuff. This was kind of successful. If you remember, if you want that little template, please go to my blog. It's linked in the description below, jameslukeburke.com. Go to the blog section. There's a blog post there that'll have that download if you want that template. The monthly ones are in there, and then these kind of 4 months to a spread are in there as well if you're looking to do something with these pages and you don't know what to do. It's just for the A6 size. I didn't make an A5 one, so only if you've got an A6, unfortunately. But, you know, never say never. Maybe in the future I'll get around to making an A5. So yeah, have a good day. I will see you when I see you, and that's all. Goodbye.